1 minute. "30 seconds. "10 seconds. Stand by.
All right, folks. Josh, there they go. Heading to the Concept 2 rower.
Looking for 800 meters from the big boys of heat number 1 as they go right to work. Again, these are the lucky athletes that made the first cut. And now we're into event number 2, known as the second cut, 800-meter row on these Concept 2 rowers right here on the North Park field. And a 10-minute cap guarantees a quick event, as most of these athletes already surpassing the 200-meter mark. A lot of these athletes with a lot to prove, Larry, approaching the 300-meter mark. And they definitely want to make it into that second cut going into tomorrow, the second day of competition.
You said it, Josh. Several guys deep into the 300s. Gamma mark, 375.
Sam Lubin also 375. Sam over here, lane number 34. 400 for Ant Hayes here in lane 32, representing China.
Hunter McIntyre coming up on 450. Well past the halfway mark.
Dean Linderlayton out of Australia, also passing the 450. Mahmoud Salan also approaching the 500-meter mark. Same goes for Eric Hermode over here in lane 27.
Hethcock in lane number 21, 570.
Couple of 600s. Sam Lubin past the 600-meter mark. Alexander over here, lane 36, past 650.
Same for Alex Vigneault in lane number 17.
Connor, lane 37, approaching 700 meters. Couple judges, hands in the air, indicating they have less than 100 meters to go. And like Annie Sakamoto said, these very light push press with the kettlebell gonna be a trap for some of these athletes. How quickly are they gonna be able to get through these push press? About to find out as Lubin, the first athlete over.
Well, on my side, Nick Block, lane number 7. The first to dig in and go to work. Casper Gamma Mark, 1 lane away in lane number 8. Not far behind the rest of the pack. Moving forward for the first 22 kettlebell push presses.
Sam leading the way over here on my side of the North Park Stadium.
I'll tell you what, make it up some ground.
Hamza over here in lane 35, advancing as well.
A slew of folks moving forward to the next 22. Bronislaw Olenkowicz in lane number 6. Making up some ground. Nick Block pushing forward, having to put him down to take a bit of a break. Bronislaw moving forward.
And
to his
Hamza
final
over
22.
here in lane number 35. Navy Tank orange shorts, moving into his final set of 22 push press, taking a quick break. And he's starting to feel the pressure as some of these other athletes inching closer and closer to that handstand walk.
And Bronislaw grounds his kettlebells. Bronislaw from Poland in lane number 6, looking from side to side in the blue shirt. Blue shorts about to kick up, and here we go, leading the way.
Larry's got his eyes on our leader, already upside down. And he is putting on quite the show. Hamza gonna have to go back. He started in front of the line. They gotta be behind the line.
Bronislaw making it the first length. These are 44-foot sections. They must complete each section or they have to go back. Bronislaw kicking up and moving forward.
Sorry, Larry. Bronislaw in first place. Hamza got to go back. He was looking to take over second, and now a few more athletes have joined the fray.
Olenkowicz making it through the second section. One section to go and into the end zone, so to speak, across the finish line. 5:24 on the clock, and Bronislaw Olenkowicz is up and moving.
Approaching that first quadrant, Hunter McIntyre. Hunter putting on a show.
Olenkowicz into the blue and across the line, and he will finish up, taking heat number 1.
We are approaching the 6-minute marker. We got a 10-minute cap. Lots of time left, but we got a handful of athletes, Larry, looking to finish this bad boy well under the cap.
Joshi Gammelmark, Kasper Gammelmark from Denmark, up and moving. He is in the teal color top and blue shorts, halfway through the final section of handstand walk, mere feet away.
Eric Toth trying to catch up.
Gammelmark across the line, locking up second as we pass 6:27.
Dean Linderleighton getting it done. Eric Toth got to go back. Crowd not happy about that one as we got a few more athletes looking across the finish line.
Nick Block into the blue and across the line. Coming up on 7 minutes on the time clock.
3 minutes remaining as another set of athletes cross that finish line well under the cap.
Atala for Jordan down to the final section.
Brian Hernandez getting across that finish line. Eric Toth now crossing that finish line.
2 minutes and 30 seconds remaining. Shingo Morimasa all the way to the edge of the finish, not able to stay up. Time on the clock to finish up strong.
Connor racing into that end zone as he completes event number 2 under the cap.
Ahmed for Jordan finish it up down in lane number 2 across the line under the 8-minute mark. And unable to hang, Georgie Jurek right there. Georgie almost pushed back for the finish, having to reset. A little less than 2 minutes to go.
Hamza so close to that finish as another 3 athletes cross that finish line.
Christoph crossing the line, corner gonna sprint it across with 90 seconds to go. Down in lane number 3. Less than 90 seconds to go. Georgie Jurek up and moving so close twice before, just looking for a good solid finish.
Sam Lubin finishing up.
Georgi Jurek approaching the finish line. Almost there, been there twice before, and there we go. Georgi across the line, just past the 9-minute mark.
Alexander getting it done under the cap as we have 45 seconds remaining.
Vito Gorici in lane number 1, almost there. Shirtless in the blue shorts. And Gorici into the blue and across the line with 30 seconds to go.
Come on, Madison, make some noise for these athletes with less than 30 seconds remaining. Hamza so close. Hamza making his way back as they have about 15 seconds remaining. Three, two, one, time. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up one more time for the athletes of heat number 1, event number 2, second cut. Bronislaw with a time of 5 minutes and 40 seconds. That is the time to beat.
Final heat of the final event for the men here on day number 1 of the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games. The athletes in this second and final heat of second cut are taking the field. Thanks for being with us, everybody. I'm Sean Woodley with Annie Sakamoto and Dan Bailey. We just saw Bronislaw Olenkowicz go sub-6 in that last heat. He has the time to beat 5 minutes 40.63 seconds. 3 movements in this event. We start with that 800-meter row, then we have those 66 reps on the kettlebells, push press, and then we have the handstand walk that needs to be completed unbroken in those 44-foot sections. We talked about this going into the event, but once again, what are the keys to success here in this test?
Getting off that rower and being able to jump right onto your kettlebells. You don't want to waste yourself in that first 800 meters. That being said, you can't go too slow, right? You can't just give up time to that. So you have to get right to those kettlebells and then managing fatigue on that push press for the kettlebells.
Right, I think you have to think about the transitions, the coming off the rower, being able to pick up the kettlebells, but then putting down the kettlebells and being able to pop right up on your hands and getting that first increment of handstand walk.
Matt Fraser is your overall leader after he won event number 1. The man on the right of your screen is Chandler Smith. He sits in second place overall, and you saw Ben Smith earlier. He got in courtesy of a wild card, and right now, Ben Smith doing Ben Smith type things. A very strong performance in the opening event, and Ben Smith for the men currently sits, if I can find it, in 8th place overall. Cole Sager and Pat Vellner, meanwhile. There's some guys who have some ground to make up. And Pat Vellner in 9th place overall. Cole Sager in 7th as they look to start to put some pressure on Matt Fraser. James Newberry currently sits in 6th. Underway, we start with that 800-meter row, and we were talking a little bit about this event. To me, this reminds me a lot of like a Jackie type of workout.
Yeah, you nailed it with that. That's exactly what this is like. I mean, it's lightweight, very high intensity, except we're trading a much more higher skill movement there at the end. Instead of pull-ups, ending with pull-ups, you're going to end with a handstand walk. But for these guys, it should be something that they should be fairly familiar with and should be able to push pretty hard. We saw a winning time there, you said, in the last heat was right around 5:40, I believe, sub-6. That's moving for this, and that's also a really good time for Jackie.
Right, and I think similar to Jackie, that 800-meter row, and even a little more so being 800 meters, you can't win it on the row, but you sure as heck can lose it on the row. So you've got to be really careful about your pace on that rower. Again, you don't want to come off 25 seconds behind everybody, but if you come off 20 seconds in front of everybody, you should almost be a little worried.
Matt Fraser, if you watch him do anything that involves a readout screen, he will be looking constantly at the men who are next to him to see what their pace is and where he needs to be to stay ahead of him. Scott Panchik is on the left of your screen. Panchik right now in 3rd place overall. That man, Chandler Smith, in 2nd place overall. And we haven't seen him compete in person since the Rogue Invitational, where he was super impressive. And I think not only proved to us, but proved to himself that he does belong here.
Yeah, that was his first real go, I think, at competing with a full field of elite male competitors at the Rogue Invitational, right? And he definitely did well there, and now he's showing up today. Let's see if he can follow it up here for the rest of this event.
So look at Matt Fraser's screen as he is approaching the 500-meter mark of this opening 800-meter row.
Holding a cool sub 140 pace.
I think that time's going to be pretty common across most of the field. I feel like a lot of the field is going to step off the rower at about the same time for this. The separator will be when they get into that shoulder overhead, and definitely when they start doing handstand walks down the field.
Bronislaw Olenkowicz is your event leader. He came in at 11th place overall. An impressive debut for him so far. 5 minutes, 40.63 seconds. The only man to go sub 6 minutes in that first of these two heats. The final event of the day for the men. We cut down to 50 total athletes after this event.
And like you said, somebody like Bronislaw, you know, we've never seen, we've rarely seen athletes like that with these higher skill gymnastics movements, like legless rope climbs, like handstand walking. So the fact that they're opening up with events like that and doing really well is very impressive and bodes well, I think, for their entire weekend.
A lot of hands going up in the air from judges whose athletes are on their final 100 meters, and that's Elliott Simmons onto the kettlebell push press. 35 pounds in each hand. Matt Fraser and Chandler Smith, they have to do 66 of these reps, and they advance every 2 repetitions. And now a no rep for Fraser. Those kettlebells need to come below the chin on every rep.
Not only coming below the chin, the tendency is going to be here is to move really fast. These are not very heavy kettlebells for guys. You would think 53s would be something that they would use for something like this. I think this makes the workout much more difficult with them being so light because it's going to burn the shoulders out, but locking out the elbow, making sure you're reaching the full movement standards while maintaining a good pace is going to be key to not getting a no rep.
Right.
Yeah, 2 more no reps for Fraser right there. It's a lot like those thrusters on Jackie. Had what sounds to be a flyover here at the Alliant Energy Center as we approach the 4-minute mark. Matt Fraser continues to advance. Takes some time to shake out his arms. And Fraser, we can't see him on the screen yet. We don't know if he's on his handstand walk or not. That's Samuel Quant. And Fraser on his final set of 22. Cole Sager is there as well. He's on the left of your screen. Scott Panchik of the green just got hit with a no rep. He's in the middle of your screen.
Yeah, you're seeing a lot of no reps go down, but for these guys, as opposed to some of the other movements that we've seen today, a no rep on this is not nearly as costly as it was on, let's say, the legless rope climb. So a lot of no reps happening, but it's because, like Dan was saying, they're repping them out so fast that it's easy to miss the lockout, miss the handles below the chin.
Matt Fraser may have wound up doing about 80 of those things, but he's done. Fraser, the first man onto the handstand walk. He has a minute to track down Bronislaw Olenkowicz's time of 5 minutes, 40.63 seconds. Those sections on the field need to be completed unbroken. If you come down off your hands between the lines, you have to go back to the line where you started. Now Fraser is done.
He's definitely got some pressure here. There are definitely a handful of athletes who can catch him, who are keeping up with him.
Cole Sager got almost to the line right there and fell, which is really a costly no rep.
Jonne Koski's at the bottom of your screen, and he is creeping up on that man, Matt Fraser. Brent Fikowski is there as well. He is on the right side of your screen, and Fikowski's creeping up on Fraser. Fraser back on his hands, looking to earn another event win here.
Wow.
He's got
If he
10
stays
seconds.
on his hands, he's got it. Make it 11. Matt Fraser, 2 for 2 on day 1. Perfect to start the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games. Meanwhile, Brent Fikowski has fallen. We'll have to go back. Jonne Koski is across the finish line. Koski will take 3rd, as Bronislaw Olenkowicz will take 2nd in the event. Now, Brent Fikowski has to retreat back to that line, and points are slipping through his fingers as more men are now starting to come across the finish line here. That was a costly mistake for Brent Fikowski. James Newberry is in.
super similar to those rope climbs, right? I mean, just if you fail one rep, if you fail anything, if you tire out on your arms like that, that is going to set you back huge in a field of competitors as the top 1% in the world in the sport.
Right.
Ben Smith, Scott Panchik, Noah Olson, Logan Collins, Jacob Hebner, Travis Mayer. Now Pat Vellner is in. Samuel Cornier is in. Vellner is going to take 12th in the event.
And the question for me right now is, where's Chandler Smith?
And now Brent Fikowski, who was within inches of a top 3 finish, is across. Fikowski's going to take 17th. 68 points, though, for Brent Fikowski. Pat Vellner, meanwhile, I told you, finished 10th or 12th in the event. That's worth 78 points. And now it's just a frantic finish. It's just about everybody is finishing up here.
In that one fall, it looked like about 8 guys passed Brent Fikowski.
Easily.
George Sterner, Adrian Moonviller, Fikowski, Panchik, Simmons, Quant, Connor Duddy, Simone Montalia, Gumanson, Chandler Smith still on the field.
This was a skill I don't think we've seen from him, or at least I haven't. It definitely wasn't at the Rogue Invitational. This was something new.
He's doing damage control on this last 44 feet. You just really hope he can stay on those hands and finish the event.
Not a ton of points separating every competitor here as we come across the finish line. Same amount of points that were on the line in event number 1. Chandler Smith is probably going to fall out of second place overall. Scott Panchik, Bjorn Gumanson, Jeffrey Adler, and James Newberry were behind him. Newberry had a 4th place finish in this event, so Newberry, he's going to grab 94 points.
It's huge for James Newberry. And Ben Smith just proving that he should have gotten the wild card and that he very much deserves to be at the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games.
And Chandler Smith wound up finishing in 48th place. That's just 27 points for him. So James Newberry could find himself in the top 3 here after day 1. "90 seconds before we hit that 10-minute time cap."
See the fatigue
so
set in on those
heartbreaking.
last few steps.
That is
Heartbreaking for
Jason Smith out of South Africa.
He's got 1 minute and 10 seconds. He's got the time to finish.
Well, Jason Smith is on the cut line here. He came in an 80th place overall. He's got to get across the finish line to have a fighting chance of moving on in this competition.
And this is the tough part. Similar to those rope climbs, it's like if he kicks up too soon and he's not ready and he comes down halfway through, he's wasted a whole nother rep, right?
Taking that chance has
Taking
a
the
very
chance.
big repercussion if it doesn't work out for
Right.
you.
On the
Cole
other
Sager's
hand,
out there cheering him on, along with Jacob Hebner.
and there's other athletes in other heats that may have finished before him, so he's got to keep pushing.
About 30 seconds to go. Jason Smith, this is huge for him if he can get across the finish line. Sager and Hebner trying to get the crowd behind Jason Smith, the national champion from South Africa.
He could do it. Oh,
Another fall for Smith, and it's not going to happen for him. And Jason Smith is in danger of getting cut here after 2 events at the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games.
You can see him shaking his head. It's just there's nothing else I can do.
Exactly.
That's, that's what it is. The tank's emptied.
Matt Fraser wins yet another event. Brent Fikowski's talking with him, and Fikowski almost finished in the top 3. But a costly fall moves him down to 17th in the event. But Matt Fraser was great on the rower, but despite the fact that he got hit with about 30 no reps,
Yep.
he still manages to win this event.
And not just win this event, but he put down the kettlebells, jumped right up onto his hands, didn't waste any time. And look at him finish here. I feel like he could have walked the rest of the blue marker too. I don't even feel like he was that fatigued in it. So he's really putting on a show right now.
And Matt Fraser was starting to feel the pressure from Brent Fikowski, and this is the fall from Fikowski. Look how close he was. He just came off his hands. He would have been in the top 3 had he not fallen. And Brent Fikowski finishes
and it
in
didn't even
17th
look like
place.
he tripped. It was like his left arm just gave out.
Yeah.
Pat Vellner and Matt Fraser goofing around a little bit, and Fraser's all smiles after the event win. 200 points on the line on day number 1. 200 points for Matt Fraser.
Well, 2 for 2 on day one is a great way to start the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games for you. When it comes to an event like this, where we see high intensity, lightweight, but high gymnastics skill, how do you approach it differently from, let's say, event one?
Something like this, it's all about the transitions. It's such a short event. It's keeping you cool on the row. That's a good bait. And then just trying to get as few no reps as you can on the thrusters. And then kick up whenever you feel ready.
Yeah, speaking of, when you were kicking up, you were in the lead and you maintained the lead, but there were a couple guys putting pressure on you toward the end. How do you balance the need to win versus that need to take a break, shake it out, make sure that you're fresh to go?
Having guys on your heels, it definitely gives a motivation to get back up. But we do handstand walks all the time, so you know how to listen to your body and when you're ready.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, cool.
You can change things as much as you want, but it's not going to stop Matt Fraser. 2 events, 2 event wins. Bronislaw Olenkowicz, the rookie. Looks like he's here to stay for a while. He will finish in second place. Jonne Koski takes third. And it's James Newberry in fourth. And Ben Smith moving up the leaderboard. Well-deserved was that wild card. We're going to step aside for a second. We'll be back to get you set for women's action in the second cut. Stay with us here in Madison, Wisconsin, when the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games continue.